I would understand if you didn't expect much from this game. Let's be honest, when developers try to revive arcade franchises with modern sequels, it almost never works. And not only is this one of those attempts, but it's also a third-party Wii game, which is about the only kind of video game with a worse reputation. But that's what makes this game special. This game stares at the expectations, the negative connotations, the automatic gag reflex prompted by anything that claims to follow up a game like Centipede, and burns them with a flamethrower. It's it's in my CGR contract that I have to point out when a game includes a flamethrower. I'm still not sure who put that in there. It's Centipede Infestation. Whatever you may think when you hear the title and see the platform, you think the opposite when you hear WayForward, the development team that hatched Centipede Infestation. WayForward has always been a favorite here at CGRundertow. They're the studio that's given us Contra 4, Shantae, A Boy and His Blob. They even did an awesome Nintendo DS game based on the Thor movie. I mean, seriously, that's how you know you're dealing with a great developer, and they've pulled off some similar magic here. You could call Centipede Infestation the Wii's biggest surprise of the year, but then again, it's WayForward. This is really no surprise. Centipede Infestation is a top-down shooter similar to another Wii revival, Sega's Alien Syndrome. The difference is this game actually pulls it off. Infestation revives Centipede with new gameplay, but it's firmly rooted in the past. Infestation works because it stays true to the principles that made Centipede one of the best arcade games of all time. The game takes place in a world decimated by huge insects. As a boy named Max, you're essentially playing a dual role of bug exterminator and mankind savior. Of course, the importance of this story is minimal at best, and the game seems to understand that. The narrative is restricted to basic cutscenes that just scream cheap Wii game, but don't be fooled. What Infestation lacks in presentational flair, it more than makes up for with fast-paced gameplay that would do your trackball proud. Infestation takes place from an isometric viewpoint. You move Max around with the analog stick on the Wii's nunchuck attachment, and you aim by pointing the remote. Now, this works well, but the game also supports the Wii's classic controller, which is actually the best way to play Infestation. Because you're shooting in directions rather than at a specific point, it's faster to use a second analog stick than the Wii's pointer. Whichever setup you use, you'll have a blast. Infestation incorporates classic Centipede concepts into a whole new genre. Insects are attacking from every angle, and because each level is its own self-contained game board, they have a vibe like those of the original. Playing Infestation, you get the same kind of exhilaration that defined Centipede more than 3 decades ago. You feel cornered, you feel overwhelmed, and you feel frantic. And the best part, you don't need any quarters. But of course, this isn't a perfect game by any measure. Again, the presentation is very crude. The cutscenes seem cheap, and the graphics are far from pushing the hardware. But once you start playing, your doubts are exterminated. By mixing classic ideas with new ones like power-ups and turrets, the team at WayForward has made a modern sequel to an arcade game that actually works. I call that refreshing. You can call it whatever you want, but at the end of the year, I think we'll all be calling Centipede Infestation one of the best Wii games of 2011.
Wow. Hi.
What?